Well, obviously, there's another controversy because they have Big John McCarthy back on again. UFC.com is becoming an amazing tool for their fights because now when you go to a fight, you can actually see what judges scored what. So, what about Michael Johnson, Beneil Dariush? I scored the fight 29-28 for Johnson, rounds 1 and 2. Going to Johnson, round 3, going to Dariush. I put it out on Twitter. I hadn't asked you yet, and you responded right away, like within minutes. This is obviously after the fight. I had to watch it again in the morning, the next morning. And you were like, yeah, that's why I had it, you had it scored the same way. I can see, Richard Bertrand had it 29 or 28-29, Dariush. Sal D'Amato, 29-28. Johnson and Douglas Crosby, 28-29, Dariush. So it's like, these Bertrand and Crosby, I know. Like, they've been around for a while.
Yeah.
How are they? These are not like new refs, they're boxing refs. These are MMA judges. How are they missing stuff? Like, I don't understand.
Let's back this up and look, because here's the problem. Everyone listens to the commentary. You got a dog, dude? Oh, it's mine. Fuck, I'm sorry. But you can look at the commentary and stuff, and you got, even the UFC Tonight Show, it's got Daniel Cormier and it's got Rashad Evans. And Rashad is a teammate of Michael Johnson. And so when you sit there and you look and you say, you know what? Man, Michael Johnson he destroyed him in that fight, which is what Rashad was basically saying. That's not true. Okay, let's go back and look at the fight fairly. I think the real thing comes down to this: is Michael Johnson. If you don't give him the first round, then you really don't understand what judging is for MMA, because he was doing a good job of controlling the fight, but then he hurt Dariush, puts him down. That's the best punch of the round. That was the best action. That was the closest thing that came to ending the fight in that round, and it didn't. Dariush got right back up, but it was that sequence that sealed the deal for that. That was Johnson's round. And I think most people are going to look and say, you know what? In the third round, Dariush won the round. If you look, he landed the better strikes, and that's really what it was about. A lot of people are going with, Michael Johnson and saying, well, he was stopping all of his takedowns. That's great. That's outstanding by Michael, because Michael is keeping the fight where he wants it to be, but he's not getting credit as far as those, sprawl situations where he's not being taken down. Great, he's just staying in that situation, but he's not gaining points in the mind of the judges with it. So the real question in that fight is the second round, and it's a close round. I went, and when I was watching it live, and when I talked, you texted me, and so I texted you back. Yeah, that's how I had it. I hadn't seen it. I was watching it, from where I was at, and I'm looking through all the posts and everything and stuff, but I had given it to Johnson. I thought Johnson controlled the action of the fight. I thought he actually landed the better shots throughout a lot of the rounds. Dariush was coming in with a lot of jumping knees and stuff, and a lot of them weren't hitting Johnson, flush or anything like that. So it looks dramatic, but there's really nothing off of it that you're going to sit there and say, hey, that really affected him. So, that was the way I felt. I came back and I watched it. It was even a closer round than I thought. It was, if you watch it on the screens, I still think that Johnson won. And I do think, in my opinion, and it's just my opinion as far as, watching it, I would have given the first and the second round to Johnson. I would have given the third to Dariush. But it's not that one. Look at this is close. You got two judges going one way. Sal D'Amato and I talked about the fight. He saw it the same way I did. As far as, he said, John, what did you think? I said, this is what I saw. I thought Johnson was doing this, that. And when I'm saying this, that, I'm saying I thought he was controlling the distance. I thought he was actually landing the more effective punches that were keeping Dariush from being able to do what he wanted to do. Although Dariush landed some shots, they didn't have the power on them that some of Johnson's did. And I'm going to always give, credit to power over just, hitting the guy. And so there's a lot that goes into it. But it's, it was a tight fight. It wasn't this, dramatic one-sided fight where all of a sudden the guy gets the fight over it. And that's kind of what I saw off of the UFC show with Rashad. Rashad is a teammate of Johnson. He cares who wins that fight, and he's always going to give more credit to what Michael Johnson's doing than what Dariush is doing, and that's okay. That's that's part of what he does, but that's not the way the judges are looking at it.
Here's a breakdown from the striking, just from a striking standpoint. Round one, 24 of 73 for Johnson, 24 significant strikes. 20 of 57, 20 significant strikes for Dariush. Johnson wins by 4 punches. Talking about how close it is.
If you're going, okay, but so let's look at that. Just straight punches, but all punches are not the same, and we can't look at them that way. And this is where we get into the CompuStat stuff. It doesn't really work for you because who's landing the heavier blows?
Who changed the action? There's a flurry. Both of them hit each other. All right, one hit. You hit me 4 times. I hit you 3 times. You win the exchange. But I hit you 3 times, but you hit me 4 before I hit you in my last third punch, and I changed the angle of the fight. I win the exchange because you all of a sudden have to back up, cover up, and take a second. It's a different aspect. So I'm just looking at the straight numbers. Round 2, 35 of 80 for Johnson. Obviously, in MMA, all strikes are significant if they land. So 22 of 62 for Beneil, and I thought Johnson had the better second round. He was obviously more active and landed more strikes. Third round, 26 of 70. Only 25, though, were significant strikes for Johnson. 33 of 82. 33 were significant strikes for Dariush, and Dariush was more active, looked more active, did more. And I'm just, like I said, you can't equate this even for even, but just looking at it going straight through, you're like, oh, okay. One guy wins by being more active in the first 2 rounds. The other guy wins by being more active in the third round. Now add in takedown attempts, add in controlling the cage, add in submission attempts, add in everything else. You get a full picture. The problem I'm asking now is all 3 judges sitting there. All 3 judges are experienced. These are not new judges. They're all experienced in MMA. They're not boxing judges that made the transfer over. These guys understand the game. They're in different angles. They're all looking at it from different points. And you can only judge what you see. If I don't see a strike land, if I don't see something land, I can't judge it. I can think it landed, but it's not true. I have to only judge what I see. Is this a case of where the fight was actually taking place? Those 2 judges saw a different fight than the other judge who was looking at it from a different angle? Is it one of those cases? Or is it a case of really it's a crapshoot? Human error is going to happen in the middle of it, and we're really guessing on who won this fight.
Well, I think the angles of it, when you have a stand-up fight, which was that was a stand-up fight, and the angles are going to be changing. And when people sit there and they think the judge has the best seat, not true. They don't. Well, we don't have a seat, but we got the best view, no doubt about it. But there's one seat, especially when it comes to the UFC, and it's one of the things that people don't look at. First off, the octagon itself, the shape of the octagon has some areas where they're going to be blind to the judge. It's tough. That's why they put that monitor in front of the judge. But people are saying, well, why aren't they looking at the monitors? You're not supposed to look at the monitor when you can see the fighters live. But there's always going to be times when the fighters are making a change of position, their angles are changing, the referee's coming in. And so, as you're looking straight at it, this is what you get. You get that referee going, and you miss that punch that landed right at that time. It happens. That's just part of judging, and there is a human factor that is involved with it. But with the type of fight that it really was, I think this is more of certain judges. And look, we're all trying to bring judging into this realm where we're all looking at things the same, but we're all different people. And that when you started judging fights, I was all over your ass because you kept giving it okay. And that was part of, you were looking at fights through the mind of a guy that fought, and you were looking at what you thought was important in the fight was because of the way you fought. And that's okay, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it doesn't work for the kind of judge that we want to look at everybody, because we've got to give credit to everybody, and what they're doing is what they're doing effective in this fight against this opponent. So I think in this fight we have 2 guys that looked at Dariush and thought that in the second round, he was landing, in their opinion, the better strikes. Although Johnson, there's no doubt you can, throughout the entire 3 rounds, Johnson controls the position of the fight and he controls the aggression of the fight. He really does. But those are the 2 things that you put down here. You're giving credit off of striking and grappling. That's your 2 things. The grappling portion, if you're going to look at it and say it, Johnson wins the grappling, but it took so little place in the actual fight. You're not going to give a lot of credit to it, but you're going to give credit to all that striking. And there's times when just angles and things, as the judge, you're going to look and you're going to say, I had a shot when I could be sitting at an angle. I see that, actually passed him. It didn't hit him hard, and I don't give credit to it. And that's what happens with these type of scores.
Yeah, it was really close. I went back and I watched it the first time, obviously, with the sound on, and was kind of like, I wasn't really sure when the fight was over. Went back and watched it the next day, turned the sound off. No commentators, no pre-fight hype. I got none of that. I tried to rate the fight, went through it, and like, oh, okay, yeah, Johnson wins, first, second round, and then loses the third. That's how I see it. And then, obviously the decision went the other way. It's a factor where Johnson loses money because he lost as opposed to getting his win bonus. He's not going to get the win bonus. It derails him from getting into a title shot, but it's not the end of the world. It's not the worst decision that we've seen. We've seen much worse decisions than this thing. So it's like, and it's not one of those situations where it's like we talked, last week about some bad reffing. Bad judging is not really bad judging most of the time. It's just everyone being mad at the judges. It's not bad judging. It's just like, look, hey, man, I am stuck in a pillar right here in this spot watching this entire fight. You guys at home, you get the best camera angle all the time. They switch camera to make you sure you're the best angle. I got the angle I got, and this is it. If all I see is ass and back, I don't know what's going on. I have no clue. And if they're on the other side of the cage, grappling, I have no idea what's going on. If they're like in guard and their legs are facing me, I'm screwed. I can't see anything. I have no idea what's happening at this point. So.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Most people, when you get to the UFC or you get to a Bellator, yeah, they do put the monitor, and that's there to help the judges. But those judges are doing a lot of other shows that monitor's not there, and it's something that you just continue to it. You're actually looking at the fight most of the time. And when it gets to a point where it's in the part where you can't see, that's when you put your face down to it. But you're not using it as much as people think.
Yeah, no, it's very rare that you have. I know a lot of judges that have it. Well, that have had it. And I've talked to them. They're like, oh yeah, I crank it off. Like I don't want it at all. Like I don't want anything to do with it because it ruins like the way that I was taught to judge. I have to do it from what I can see. And this is cheat. This is not cheating, but it's an aid I don't want to have to use. I don't want to be influenced by something that's not really in my viewership. I get it. I understand what they're doing. I'm not that guy. You put me judging in the UFC. I'm like, it's right in front of me. I'm looking up. Look, I can't see. I got to make sure. I want to make sure because I don't want to screw a guy out of $1 million because that potentially is what you could be doing.
The more information you get, the better you.
Yeah, absolutely.
As they're fighting, and the more that you can get, if you get more, by looking down here every now and then I want that thing to give me the information so I make the right choice up there. It's tough. It's not easy.
No, it's hard as all hell. And like I told you, I prefer reffing over judging. Judging is a very difficult task. I think judging is the toughest task that you have because you've got to really, you can't move with the fighters. You can't step with the fighters. For me, reffing is the best job in there. Like it's by far and away better than ring announcing or commentating. It's much more fun. It's easy to be in there. And really, if you do your job right, people don't even remember you were in there. Like, did you ref that fight? I don't know. Did I? Did you ever see me? Thanks, John. We'll have you on again when there's another controversy, which hopefully I don't talk to you for a couple months.
That sounds good.
But the way it's been going, it could be tomorrow. We'll just see what happens. Thanks, John. We'll talk again soon, brother.